Mulati Jr., I will never, ever forgive you for this.
We might have a lead on what happened to Lily.
We feel like we should check it out.
Yeah, of course. Do whatever it takes to keep the family safe.
So Matt Clark is free.
Just disappeared. Once he was released, he took off.
That means he could be anywhere. He could be on this ranch. How is this happening again?
The Young and the Restless, YNR, recap for Thursday, February 26th, reveals that Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, will push Phyllis to dupe Victor Newman, Eric Braden, with a false win. Devin Winters, Brighton James, will also demand Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, location. So here's what YNR fans can look forward to. At the Chancellor Mansion, Dominic Winters, Ethan Ray Clark, will come downstairs after a bad dream and ask Abby Winters, Melissa Ordway, to stay with him until he falls back asleep. Devin will talk to Abby about getting a child psychologist recommendation from Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, and making sure Dom's okay after his kidnapping ordeal. Nate Hastings, Sean Dominic, will show up and speak with Devin privately, so Devin will mention his confrontation with Kane and the confirmation he got about Lily being held hostage along with the twins. Devin will suspect this is Victor's doing and will act like he might have told Victoria Newman, Amelia Heinley, but Nate will seem skeptical that Victoria would keep that a secret from him. Nate will point out that Victor's been confiding in Adam Newman, Mark Grossman lately, so Devin will suggest Adam's potential involvement is even more of a reason to be concerned. After Devin and Nate drop a hint to Abby about checking on a Lily-related lead, they'll head for the Newman ranch. Meanwhile, Victoria will try to persuade Victor that her idea to get Summer Newman, last played by Allison Lanier, to align with the Newmans against Phyllis is a good idea. However, Victor won't want Victoria to bother Summer, since she has a happy life in Milan. As for Nick Newman, Joshua Morrow, Victor will insist he'd never leave his family right now to help Victoria deal with this. Victoria will hear the latest news about Matt and know that he needs to be Victor's priority. Although Victoria won't plan to pressure Nick into joining her Italy trip, she'll stand by her decision to use Summer to their advantage. Victor will hint about more steps he's taken to ensure that Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, does the right thing, but Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, will remain frustrated over not knowing the details. Once Devin and Nate arrive at the ranch later, Devin will push him to come clean about where the hell Lily and the twins are. At Crimson Lights, Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, will bring Sienna Bacall, Tamara Braun in and confirm to Sharon as well as Nick that she's moving to Genoa City. There'll eventually be some talk about Matt's release and the creepy text messages Noah received. Another text will come in that suggests Matt could be close by or 1,000 miles away, so he'll still be taunting Noah. Noah and Sienna will hope that maybe Matt's just trying to scare them from afar, but Sharon and Nick will feel confident the psycho will be back for revenge. Detective James Burrow, Matt Cohen, will show up and point out that since Matt was released legally, he's not a fugitive. There's no reason for the cops to look for Matt, so Burrow will acknowledge that the Newmans may have to take the law into their own hands. On Kane's train, he'll deny that Phyllis is a prisoner and argue that his guard prevented her from leaving before they could finish their conversation. Phyllis will think Kane's a fool if he can't see that Lily and the twins aren't in real danger. Victor would never hurt Neil Winters, Christoph St. John, family, so Phyllis will push Kane to see this is one big bluff. Kane will rant at Phyllis since he'll remain concerned for Lily, Maddie Ashby, last played by Lexi Stevenson, and Charlie Ashby, last played by Noah Alexander Jerry. After Kane pitches the idea of building something bigger and better than Newman Enterprises, he'll even suggest they could get Newman before giving it back to Victor. It'll be clear that Kane is scrambling to say anything that might convince Phyllis. Phyllis will eventually see that Kane was never really going to accept cutting ties with his children and that he never stopped loving Lily. Kane will admit he can't give up on the three people he loves most, so he'll push Phyllis to see that love and family are everything. Kane will insist love matters more than power, wealth, or vindication, so Phyllis will soften a bit overhearing his perspective during this conversation. It'll seem like Phyllis is starting to think about her own children and how much she's willing to sacrifice. In the end, Kane will suggest maybe there's a way to fool Victor into thinking he's won. Phyllis will argue that Victor isn't easily fooled, but Kane will act like they just need him to believe it long enough to get Lily and the twins released. Phyllis will seek confirmation that she'd maintain complete control before Kane pushes her to at least help him pull off this trick. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Phyllis will have a big decision to make, so stay tuned. Imagine a scenario where Victoria and Nick stage a public appearance or a private gathering for Noah and Sienna, making it known that the family is celebrating their reunion. The event would be a carefully constructed mirage, a beautiful scene designed to be too tempting for Matt to resist. Nick, despite his pain and rage, would be positioned as the first line of defense, a role he is desperately craving. Victoria, the master strategist, would be running the command center, coordinating with security, and ensuring the net is ready to close. This plan highlights the core dynamic between the siblings. Nick brings the raw, emotional firepower, the willingness to get his hands dirty and put himself directly in harm's way to protect his son. Victoria brings the cold, calculated precision. She has spent her entire life playing chess in the corporate world, and now she is applying those same strategic skills to a game of life and death. A family on the brink. However, this risky plan is complicated by the emotional and physical state of its architects. While Victoria is focused and clear-headed, Nick is a mess. His fentanyl use is escalating, and the stress of confronting Matt is only making it worse. Sharon Newman, Sharon Case, has already recognized the red flags in her ex-husband's behavior, and Victoria has repeatedly warned him about the pills. On Friday, as they work together, Victoria will have to contend with a brother who is not only fueled by rage, but also by a dependency that could cloud his judgment at the most critical moment. Adding another layer of tension is Victor's ignorance, or perhaps his willful exclusion, from the plan. Victor has been operating on his own wavelength, refusing to answer Nikki's questions about a secret trip and insisting Matt is his only priority. He has his own schemes in motion, including the dangerous game involving Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, and the staged abduction of Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, and her children. Victor believes he is the only one who can take care of threats, as he once famously offered to dispose of Matt in his dungeon. If he discovers that Nick and Victoria are running their own parallel operation, it could cause a catastrophic rift in the family at the worst possible time. The stakes have never been higher. As Friday's episode unfolds, the question remains, will the bait work? Matt is not a fool. He has outsmarted the Newmans before, faking his own death and slipping through their fingers repeatedly. He knows Nick wants to put a bullet in him, and he knows Victoria is a brilliant tactician. Walking into their trap would require an arrogance that Matt certainly possesses, but also a motivation that the Newmans are counting on, his obsessive hatred for